Today we'll try out the latest Uizard updates to their Autodesigner with the goal of answering a really important question that appeared recently in our industry. Will AI take over our UX design jobs? After testing some AI Figma plugins in another video and being quite disappointed, I've decided to give AI another shot and try out the Uizard app. Let's move to Uizard and try out the Autodesigner. And I watched some tutorials, but for the most part, I will be discovering this tool with you. I would like to first generate a project for web. And when it comes to the description, I would like a task management app with a Kanban board and a list view. And the list should include the task name, status, assignees, deadline. And I would like the application to also create some empty states and variations for data. And let's say that I would like just a light mode, modern. I think copyright will also be fine. And let's generate the project.
2 hours later.
And it seems that our design is ready. We landed on this page with a lot of different panels. So let's analyze what was created and whether or not it will be useful to speed up our design process. I can see here that on the left, I can add some templates and it looks like some UI elements. So maybe it will be useful later, but let's close this panel. Let's also close this pop-up here with information about the beta, and let's have this cleaner interface here. And the first impression is that it generated some screens. I can also see this laptop background here, so it indicates that it's a web design, but I'm not sure how useful that will be in the future. We have a sign-up page, then we have some upcoming. I assume that those are tasks for tomorrow, this week, etc. It's not necessarily the Kanban board, but let's take a look at the other screens. We also have my tasks, and this seems to be a list view. It seems to be a sorted list view, today, tomorrow, this week. Also, those radio buttons are a little confusing here. Also, I can see an issue with the navigation here. An icon is bigger than the others. Let's take a look at the account settings. I didn't specifically ask for those screens, so it's really interesting that it generates more screens than I asked for. It is named account settings, but it seems like we have task settings. And initially, I thought that those are the fields that you can add to the task, but it seems like it's adding a task maybe to the list because here we have save task button. It's a little confusing, to be honest. Then we have a dashboard, pretty standard with search, new task, etc. To do in progress completed, we have a Kanban board with ability to add a new task. I think this design looks pretty okay. It's very basic. Overall, all the visuals are pretty basic, but maybe it's because I've added this very minimalistic style and it produced the designs in this style. I can also see some issues here. For example, the text in the pill is overflowing from the background, so that's a really bad sign here. We also have some alignment issues I can see in avatar, so there seems to be a frame for the avatar, but it's not there. And the last screen is notifications. Those are task notifications. We have some filtering options and searching. Overall, it's a really like a starting point for the application, but there are some inconsistencies between even the screens that were generated that I think would make this really hard to implement. We have the left navigation here, and that's fine, but the top bar just changes. There are some sizing issues, alignment issues. Also, every single element on the screen seems to be a separate element. It's not a frame, as we would create in Figma, for example, or how actually developers will implement it. So it will be really a lot of work to even translate those designs into something that is ready for implementation. Now let's try to edit some of those elements. So let's say that I would like to edit this pill here. I can edit the fill, the size, the style, and there are some presets here, so that's fine. We can also expand for more options with alignment. We can change the text style even. There seems to be a lot of options. They are a little bit hidden, but that's completely fine. You're still watching, so it means that this video is at least a little bit interesting. You can give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I publish videos about setting up your portfolio, working as a UX designer, getting hired, and creativity. Let's say that I would like to change the text to Robota, and I would like to change it to bold, but for some reason it's not possible. I can change the color to something darker if I want to. Also, we can work on shadows. So let's say that I want to add like some regular shadow here. I can click on the placeholder option, but I'm not sure what it does basically. I can also move elements around and even align them. But at the same time, I would need to change every single text because it doesn't seem like we have some styles or anything that I can save. I can also see that we have some issues with padding here. So for example, I would like this element to have a little bit more padding. I'm not sure how to add it. I thought initially that it will be under the layout, but it seems like we only have the position and sizing here. Let's explore the right navigation a little bit more here. We have a mode. We can potentially change to wireframe mode. And that's quite useful because we could potentially have some low fidelity designs that we can work on for the whole application and make some changes. That's a really nice style also here, very sketchy, a little bit like Excalibur. Let's come back to Wireframe mockup and let's take a look at the handoff. Let's select this element, let's say, and we have some React styles and the simple CSS as well. It is a very, very simple approach here. I think it could be useful a little bit for developers, but definitely we would need more information, and especially when creating components and working with a design system. This is a really one-off thing. Let's explore how we can adjust the generated designs. So let's say that we can generate screens, we can create images or create a theme. Let's go with generating screens first. And let's try to generate the timeline view. And let's click generate.
A few moments later.
And it seems like it generates a couple of screens that I can choose from. Let's zoom in a little bit to see the screens better. So this one is really similar to the list. There's another list view. It seems like it didn't understand my prompt properly. So let's try to generate the Gantt chart view. Maybe we will have more luck this time. And now it seems a little bit closer to what we wanted. Let's take a look at what it generated. So this is a Gantt chart by person. Here it seems to be by task. By task again, we have two similar designs. They seem to be repeating the same designs over and over again. Let's say that I want to use this screen. So I can click use screen and it was added directly to our board. And since we're already here, let's take a look at the focus predictor. It is an interesting feature that was brought here when the selection was on. And basically it is a heat map for a given screen. So we definitely have a lot of attention on days and people, not so much on tasks. So that's also quite interesting to see that even the designs that were generated by AI, it seems to be that the attention is not on the correct elements and we will still need to make some changes to change that. Let's close it and let's come back for a moment to the input. I would like us to try and generate theme. I found this really interesting design on Dribble. It has a really nice color palette and I would like to use it for our designs. So let's come back to Uizard and let's upload a screenshot and let's try to generate the theme. And then we end up with comparison between the original and generated, and I would like to apply it. It seems like the backgrounds were changed. Also, it seems like we have some inconsistencies between the same UI elements. So we have the buttons here and here, for example, or the pills between different cards. Also, orange cards, probably not the best choice here. We also have some inconsistency here between the background colors between the cards. Let's zoom out for a moment and let's take a look at our My Task list. It is an interesting feature and I definitely look forward to what can be done in the future. Also, I think that really good UX regarding those changes and the whole experience here needs to be mentioned. I think the results maybe are not meeting my expectations yet, but when it comes to the ease of use, Uizard and especially its AI feature is really intuitive. I would like to do one more experiment. Let's come back to our dashboard and let's try to generate with Autodesigner again. But this time I would like to generate for mobile and let's see if the results are different.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
And we are back in a very similar place. Let's close everything and let's take a look at the results. We have a welcome screen, some kind of registration. It seems to be very empty and copy is not really convincing. Also, we have some issues with the text and we have some issues with pills here, in my opinion. So it seems like all the potential UI issues need to be resolved here. There's also a list of my tasks and the text styles seem to be really different here than on other screens. Completing the profile with some misalignment on the icon, notifications and some kind of error state here. I think in general it looks pretty basic as well for me. There is one more thing that I wanted to check. On the Uizard website, there are templates and we can also use the mobile app design template to start our project. And I wonder how that will work with our prompt. Let's say that I would like to use this template. It's a little Notion-like, very minimalistic, so let's see how it works. And now I need to generate the screens that I would like based on the prompt. And let's use more or less similar prompt for the Kanban view within the task management app, and let's see what the results are. Let's zoom in and see what screens we can choose from. We have a list. It doesn't look anything like our template. I think this one may be a little bit better visually, but it doesn't meet the expectations for the content that I've asked for, the Kanban view for the task management app. Again, browse jobs, upload CV, popular clips. It's a little bit weird. Let's choose this one. Seems to be the closest to the Kanban board. So it seems like we can add screen within the theme of this particular application. So it needs to be a job search type of thing in this particular case. But my expectation was that we will be able to use this template to generate a completely different application to maybe bypass some UI issues that the AI generation from scratch has. Let's now run the last test in this video. Let's come back to our dashboard and let's generate with Autodesigner again. Let's come back to web. But now I would like to create a website for the illustration library. And I would like to ask it to show different uses of the illustrations, both print, web, clothes, etc. And I would like the style to be playful, hand-drawn, and colorful. And let's remove the modern, go with artsy, maybe young and hand-drawn. And let's generate.
One eternity later.
It seems like our design is ready. I'll close the panels again. And let's take a closer look. So we have our home page with some handwritten illustration. It seems like we are in the wireframe mode. Let's go to the mockup mode. And we are now on the home page. We can search for illustrations. There are some cat-themed illustrations generated, so that's fine. Short instruction about how it works, how to work with us as a partner, as a customer, etc. And illustrate with ease and downloading the library. We have some featured illustrations and we have some filters for print, web, etc. It's really freely interpreting my prompt from the very beginning. And it seems to be a shop with prices. I also didn't ask for it. I don't know why there is a tea theme going on here. Also, when it comes to the buttons here, we have some problems with overflowing text that we would need to definitely correct. We have some e-commerce screens here on the left and then some card screen as well. The thing is, it's really disappointing that it's creating pages that I didn't really ask for, and it doesn't create the pages and the elements that actually I asked for. So let's try one more thing to adjust it with the prompt and generate a screen where it will show the use cases for the illustration library. And I will explicitly call out web, print, and clothes, and let's generate. And it looks like we have some propositions ready. Let's zoom in and take a look. It still seems like we are in the e-commerce, not necessarily on the website. Let's take a look at the other one. Here we have some food themes and some more cat illustration prints. Let's try to generate this page again. And now let's use the web page. So explicitly, let's call it out and try to generate. It seems like we have some new propositions here. The first one is a website. It seems like it's redoing the website all over again. Adjust to your workspace. Yeah, it seems like it's not really meeting the expectations. The power of a cat, illustrations, card art industry. It seems like, unfortunately, we will not get the page that we want from this prompt. So, will AI take your job? Probably eventually to a certain extent, but for now, I don't think so. We've seen an example of Uizard and the AI Figma plugins that I've tested in another video that it's really difficult to create a good text-to-design tool. But the development in this area is progressing extremely fast and we definitely need to be ready for what's coming. I feel like the most useful thing in the foreseeable future will be the implementation of text-to-design tool that is based on an existing design system. So imagine if AI could just pull up the existing components and create a screen based on your description. It will save us so much time and effort. Or imagine that you can sketch an interface and AI creates a high-fidelity mockup using components and rules from your existing design system. Also, use cases for AI become really interesting when it comes to analyzing research data and improving existing designs. And this leads to my next point. I think we should change our mindsets and instead of fearing being replaced by AI, accept it and learn how to use it to our advantage as designers. We can automate so many tasks and free up so much time and mental space to actually focus on important problems and edge cases. And I think that people who are the most successful accept innovation and use it instead of just fearing and avoiding it. Thank you for joining me today. Here I've selected some other videos that you might like. Remember to subscribe and I'll see you over in the next one.